Well, hey guys, Vader here. Doing a little project for a fellow vlogger, Renegade Biker 24. He was trying to put some LED lighting. In fact, on his Honda motorcycle, and he's kind of wanting to do his car. Well, he was having a tough time with it because it looked like it was kind of a little bit of a job to do, actually. I mean, unless you're really well versed in that stuff, kind of a pain in the butt to do, if you will. But I had talked to him on the phone and was talking to him a little bit about it, and I know his frustrations and stuff. I actually bought me one, and it's made by Supernight. Supernight.com is actually the company that makes the thing, and they're multicolored LEDs. They come on a reel, movie reel. It's kind of cool, actually, and they're called Supernight, and the part number is an LC128. I hope you can see that, LC128. And I wanted to see this thing for myself also. Before what he ended up doing was he sent it to me, sent his stuff to me, and I told him, I said, let me come up with an idea, a way on how I want to configure these things, and I want to see what's involved, and on and on and on. Well, I started out with an experiment. When I got these, I kind of said, okay, well, what you have to do is you can take these things, okay, let me get, hang on, bear with me guys, not well prepared actually. I don't know if you can see this or not, but you can cut these things, and I'll tell you what, they did pretty dang good. You can cut these anywhere. I mean, there's a lot of places. So you cut different lengths, and you cut this little strip right here, and it's a copper strip, okay, and the one copper tab is 12 volts, the other one's green, red, and blue, okay, and then they use those colors on the LEDs themselves to mix them to give you, on the remote, all these cool colors. I mean, they do, and there's actually a lot of functions too. I have not had a chance to play with them a whole lot. There's DIY 1, DIY 2. I think you can set these up. I'm not sure what these are yet. I haven't had a chance to play with that. I think there's a brightness here of them. The on and off, turn them on and off. But with that, along with that is this box, this little white box. And that's the IR sensor, the infrared sensor. And then your coupling point, which plugs in from here to, powers the beginning strip, okay, right? It starts the beginning, and then all you do, then you just start basically coupling from there. So I said, all right, well, that means when I cut it for X length, wherever it's going to be sitting on the bike or car, well, then I have to then I got to add a length, I got that length there, and I got to add a length. Well, there's going to be like a several series dealy, but beginning stuff, I wanted to show everybody kind of what's involved, and what I'll do is just explain what I've coming up with here, and then the next video will be kind of how I came up with a way to couple these together. And I'll show you what they gave you and versus what I came up with. Now, what I'm going to come up with is going to be a little more detailed, but you got to remember something. When you're detailing a bike or a car, I'm kind of anal about those things, and I want it all, bikes vibrate and so do cars, but bikes are even worse. And the environment that you set this stuff on a bike is even worse than a car. So I don't want these things going, oh, okay, how come that part of it's not working, or that side's not working, or on and on and on. And I said, you know, I looked at them and I was talking to Mike and Renegade Biker 24, and I said, you know, I'm not going to accept kind of what I've seen that they kind of use, and you got to buy these pieces, and I'll show all that in a little bit in the next video. I'm going to break this down a little bit, and how I derive to come up with how I'm going to put them together when I need a couple, because I like to do it on my Silverwing. But you know, you're going to have some soldering capabilities, unfortunately. I mean, unless you want to wrestle with the things that they give you, and I'll explain that again when I get there. I just think there's a much better way of doing it, a much sounder way of doing it, and then I'll explain how I came up with a way for him to attach this stuff to his bike, because they give you it's a sticky side on the back side, but as we all know, the environment on a bike is bad. Same with a car, and it's not going to go over top the skin, outside skin. You're going to hide them. So guess where all the cruddies and stuff hang out, and this sticky side is pathetic. So I've got a way that I'm going to demonstrate how I'm going to do that, how I would do that on mine. So Mike or anybody else, if they want to go that way, can do this for what I came up with. Again, it's not real super impressive, guys. It's not the way they do it. Personally, I think there's other ways to do it, and I tried to come up with the best way I could think of. And again, mine is not, you know, I'm not the ultimate sayer, but this is the way I would do it. So, anyways, okay, I'm going to shut up for now, and then I'm going to get to the next video. I'm going to stop this one and get to the next video, and that'll show kind of what I did for coupling purposes. And then we'll grow it from there. So, anyways, that's it for this one. Alright, this is a continuance of how I'm going to couple, like, this section. And actually I'm not going to use this section because this section is actually bad. The LEDs, half of them don't work, and I think that's because of the way they couple them. But anyways, what I'm going to do is show you how they want you to do it. And I thought it was not a real good way of doing it. What they supply you, and you have to buy, is you buy this chunk of wire. In fact, I have one here that's just a piece of it before I show that half. In fact, I do right here. Okay, again, you can buy all this stuff, and it's not cheap, but I don't think it's sound. Personally, I don't think it's a good way to do it. Okay, they sell you this little coupler strip, okay? And this is what it looks like. It's got, you know, each door, you know, it shows, you know, the wiring for the red, green, blue, 12 volts, okay? And then on this side here, what they have you do is take, technically, let me grab just a short piece here. They want you to take, once you trim it, okay, and expose the contact, okay, the contacts, they want you to take, and let's see if I can demonstrate this, and hopefully you guys can see it. They want you to take this thing and put it in there, and then slide it under these little contacts right here. There's little contact ears right here, and they're kind of spring loaded, but they're not great, but you got to be able to get them right on the money. And what I have found is some of this is not actually slipping on real good. They don't slip on real good. So what I ended up doing was said, okay, well, let's do this. Let's since this is the coupler, this is the part where I trimmed it, and you flatten it out really good with a pair of, you know, flat needle nose, okay? And then again, you open the little door, and you slide this little piece in there, and it's supposed to fit, right? It's supposed to fit this little stop. It's got a little slide. It's actually got little grooves there. So you push this in there, and you push this up in there, okay? And that's supposed to make the contact. All right, it probably does. Okay, it probably does. And you got to make sure they're lined up. The 12 volts is on the 12 volt side, red, green, blue, okay? Or green, red, blue, right? So this might be backwards, but I don't care. This is just for demonstration purposes. So it's slid up under there, right? And then you shut the little door, And all things are supposed to be happy, happy, right? Well, this isn't trimmed good, for one. And the other problem I have with it, that's why I'm changing the way it's done. I'm not going to buy these little strips. I'll use the wire, but I'm not going to buy these little strips. Is I'm not convinced that they're a good connection. They're as good as they are. So I'm not convinced. You know, when you tuck these away and you're building this line of these flashy LED strips, and all of a sudden you got one that's not working well because maybe it didn't connect real good. It's not, you know, it's not, the contacts ain't hitting real good, or you might have bent something, or the copper is all of a sudden got scraped off. You don't know, man. I'm telling you, it'd be a freaking nightmare. Especially if it's in spots that, you know, man just does not go, kind of thing. So when you get it there, you're done. Well, you don't want to have to go back there. So you hope that these couplers are exposed. Well, that's not going to be the 100. You're not going to get that 100% of the time. These couplers could be in places. Good luck, you know. So I didn't like it. I just didn't like the way they went. And I don't know what these pieces cost. I can't remember on their website. You'd have to check, but I'm not impressed. Now, other people may have just fine, may have great luck, may not have ever had a problem. Who knows? You know, I don't know, but I just didn't care for it. And you know what? Actually, looking at, there's the 12 volts is the black one, and the 12 volts is on this side, the top. So I happen to get that right. But that's kind of what they want you to do. And Mike had, I don't know where the bag went. Oh, it's right here. He's got a bunch of these little couplers that you can buy separately too, and do all these chasing between, you know, add them together and without the wire strip and all that kind of stuff. I'm sorry, I think it's just a bad plan. That's just me. This strip here I'm getting ready to take apart, but what I was going to do is demonstrate real quick, guys. Sorry about that. The other thing before I even get into that, was that they furnish you, okay, in an office environment, it'd be fine. If you wanted to do a desk or a building or something like that, they give you, basically, it's a computer power, laptop power supply, basically, is what it is. This is the connector end, and it's 110 in and 12 volts out. Okay, that's 12 volts. Well, I told Mike, I says, well, he ended up buying an inverter. He bought an inverter, and I said, I'm not putting a damn inverter on my bike. There is different, you know, lower, you know, super plug ones that you can buy and all that crap. And I said, if it takes 12 volts to supply this little box, this is the connector and this is the male side. I said, you know what? You buy these, okay? You buy this, you buy them. I think they're 2.5 millimeter or something like that. The standard type, you know, computer power supply. Mating end. They're pretty much all standard. They come at 2.5, and I think I've even seen 2s, but I think 2.5 is the standard. But anyways, it's a 12 volt plug with a lead on it. Okay. The center pin, which is this, is 12 volts hot. Okay, the outside is negative, is ground. So easy to match up. You can give you a little diagram on the box too, you know. Let you look at it for a second. But anyways, you plug this in, and that powers the lights. This is what powers the lights. But and again, like I said earlier, it also runs the remote. Is what you have, talks to this thing. So I said, you just take this lead. You take this here with a lead on it, and you put some red-black wire on the other end, you know, butt splice it together, and I'll show that. And you make yourself a long lead from wherever the white box sits, okay, and make that go to your ignition sense. You can have it go to a battery with a switch. Well, I'm going to put a switch on it, and he can hook up to his battery, he can hook up to his ignition sense, whatever he wants to put it on. It's up to him. I will put it on my ignition sense. So when I turn my key on my bike, it turns on. The lights won't come on until you hit the on switch on the remote, because the remote's for the on and all the effects. So that's how I changed it from using that dang inverter power supply thing. I'm like, you gotta be kidding. At a desk or a counter or something like that, that's dandy, but not in a vehicle. So if I gotta supply these things normally 12 volts, that's what I would have done. So I'm trying to think if I missed anything right now, but I think that was it in regards to all that, how they couple them together, and I hope I demonstrated enough. I don't care for it. Other people may have other opinions. That's fine. I just didn't care for it. So what I'm going to do next is next video, I'm going to demonstrate how I put these onto here. Okay. So that's my next one. So Vader out. I'll be back.